Welcome back to wagertalk.com. We're going to look at some futures bets. We're going to do a couple baseball ones as spring training is underway and start of the season just a little over a month away, 6 weeks away for the baseball. But we got a futures bet in the NBA from Bryan. Since you weren't on that video, but you had one you wanted to share with the viewers. So let's kick it to you. You're looking at who in the NBA?
Well, I looked at the baseball, and there's not enough numbers out there right now to give out. I don't want to give out a play. It's only one casino, and then everybody gets screwed and not be able to play it. So I'm going to take a look at the NBA and the Sacramento Kings. And DeMarcus Cousins isn't in the MVP conversation, but he's the most dominant player in the NBA right now. If
you watched the game last night?
I did not watch last night's game.
I'll show you my text thread after this. I was arguing with friends, but I said the exact same thing. Like the Lakers, Lou Williams scored 20 in the fourth. I know I'm cutting into your time, and Johnny's going to get mad at me. But they still couldn't win the game because Cousins scored literally every single time down the floor. And they gave it to him every single time.
Yeah.
And you can't stop him.
No, you can't stop him. Cleveland is a physical team, and even LeBron, he's not going to LeBron across the court. This guy, he's always had the talent coming out of Kentucky, but he never had the wherewithal to like put it all towards winning. You know, he still has problems with technicals and everything, but the guy's a man-child. And he basically can do whatever he wants. As you said, you get him the ball and he can score. I'm taking a look at what the Kings have done lately. They're on a 10-3 against the spread run, 8-4 straight up run. On the season, when they play a team that's better than them, they're 22-14 against the spread. They come out of the All-Star break. They got 5 home games. They play Denver, Charlotte, Minnesota, Brooklyn, and Utah. I can see them winning all those games. Denver and Utah are in playoff contention, and they're both very good teams. But this Sacramento team, right now, everybody's overlooking them. Tonight, they play Golden State, and they beat Golden State just a couple of games ago. So I'm hoping that Golden State just beats the hell out of them so we get more value on the Kings. I think the Kings right now are a play-on team, and being out on the small town out in the West, a lot of people on the East Coast don't watch them. I think there's going to be a lot of value here coming in on the Kings.
So for clarification, you're saying to bet on them game-wise, not a futures bet.
Right. There won't be a futures bet, but I think there's going to be a lot of value playing on the Kings coming out of the All-Star break because they're just a team on the rise, playing great ball. Nobody's even talking about the Kings right now, playing great ball.
All right, let's change gears. Baseball's around the corner. I know I'm excited. Bryan and I will be in Arizona, in a month for spring training, spend a week there. You've got a team that you're looking at for a futures bet. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I've just started my baseball prep actually perfectly just right after the Super Bowl, which I generally do every year. And it's good timing because you get about 2 weeks before books here in town, in Vegas at least, and offshore start popping numbers. The one, I think it's Atlantis and Reno, opened 4 or 5 days ago. But unless you're in Nevada or have an app there or drive over there, I mean, you can't actually bet at those numbers. So the one I'm giving out, I'm just going to say is like the biggest discrepancy from the work I've done so far as my number projections and the number that they have. So when everyone else opens, if that closes a little bit, I still think it's worth playing. And that's actually on the Angels. And they're a team that I think came out 76.5, so the plays to the over. My numbers project, I think it's like 83.5, so it's a 7-game edge. They won 74 last game last year in a really down year, really for the Angels and especially that pitching staff. And a lot of it had to do with their ace, Garrett Richards, got injured in April. I think he only pitched 3 or 4 times and then he missed the rest of the year. He's back. You have a guy that I really like in Tyler Skaggs, who I watched play a few times last year, who just Ks the hell out of people. And his command sometimes needs some work, but I think there was even a AAA game I watched, a stream, because he was going to be pitching, in the majors, getting called up the week following, and he struck out 17 guys. He has a lot of nasty stuff. I really like him as like a 3rd, 4th, 5th rotation spot guy. They traded for Ricky Nolasco, who everyone's going to laugh at because he was a bombshell, just gas can on the Twins. And sometimes a change of scenery could be good, sometimes bad. For him, it was bad. He was pitched really well for the Dodgers and the Marlins in 2013. Went to Minnesota, just horrible. Angels pick him up late last year. He pitched 11 games, 3.2 ERA, and his whip was almost 1 flat. So he's another guy in their rotation now coming in, along with Matt Shoemaker, who's kind of their steady guy last year. And their number 5 starter, last one, this is just a rotation I think that's got so much upside. I think his name's Alex Meyer. He's a prospect. Their pitching coach just quoted recently saying his command's taken like a next step up to the point where he's going to be a guy with as far as his actual pitching goes, I think he has a 5-pitch arsenal, number 2 or number 3 type guy that's going to be their 5th starter. And if he ends up being a success for them, this is a team, they won 74 last year in a really down year. The Pythag advanced numbers all project, I think the run differential is only like -10. That's like a 79 win team last year. That's going to be a lot better this year with only a 76.5 win total. That's like my biggest discrepancy. I have to give it out. I think that's the best play as far as the season win total current market, which is only one book, offers. Yeah.
Well, and the Atlantis is usually off on several games.
Sure,
As Brian will know, is many times we've made the trek up to Reno and pounded those opening numbers. I'm going to go for a futures bet for the Giants, San Francisco Giants, to win the World Series at 8-1. A lot of the talk, obviously, the National League, everybody's going to be talking the Cubs because of how dominant they were last year and finally getting that World Series. But we've seen it. It's so hard to repeat for teams to do that. So I'm automatically looking to go against the Cubs. And then you look, the Dodgers are getting the next, most attention. And granted, you got Clayton Kershaw, and this is a team that last year did it without Kershaw for a big portion of the season. They got the addition of Adam Hill. But, Hill, when was the last time that he had a full year where he didn't have injuries?
Rich Hill?
Rich Hill, excuse me, yeah. I'm thinking of our guy here in town. Sorry. But the situation there, I'm not sold 100% on the Dodgers. I like the Giants. You look at the Giants last year, offense wasn't a problem for this team, and they've got basically the entire offense back from last year. You look at the starting rotation. You got Baumgartner, Cueto, Matt Moore, who was the late season addition last year. He's on the rotation for the year. And then you got Jeff Samardzija, who can be really good or really bad. He's in between, but he's still a quality pitcher. The only question mark left on the team is the 5th starter, which is going to be a battle in spring training between the veteran Matt Cain, who's on the last years of his career, or they had Ty Blach last year. Pitched very well at the end of the season. 17 innings when they called him up, 1.06 ERA, was 3 1/3 scoreless innings in the postseason. I think he's going to get the number 5 starter position. And then you go to the one thing this team was missing last year. How many games did they blow that they had leads last year? They got their closer, Mark Melancon. I'm a big fan of him from his days at Pittsburgh. They traded him late last season to Washington. Washington didn't re-sign him, which I think is going to hurt Washington this year. I think San Francisco's in a position to get there, and because it's an odd year, we're going to get a little value with the Giants because everybody's not jumping on that even years deal with the Giants.
A lot of people may not remember they had the best record in baseball at the All-Star break last year, and they just crashed a bunch of blown saves and bullpen stuff.
So I think that's where the value's at for me. So I'm taking the San Francisco Giants. Looking forward to seeing them in spring training. That's one of the teams we'll get to catch out there. So looking forward to that. That's it for the futures bets for this one. We're going to be doing more of these as we get closer to baseball season, so be sure to check us out at wagertalk.com. And don't forget, guys, each and every Tuesday at Wager Talk, you can get a play from one of our cappers. We pick the capper, whoever's hot that week. We feature their best bet for just $2. That's right, you can get a best bet for just $2 every Tuesday at Wager Talk. Tune in each Tuesday, find out who the capper is to see who that best bet is. We'll be back with more here at wagertalk.com.